They do not issue military dog tags, classify soldiers as missing, and put pressure on those relatives who make a fuss. The Russian military leadership resorts to such methods to hide the huge number of deaths among military personnel sent to seize Ukrainian territories. In 5 months of a full-scale war against Ukraine, Russia's losses already exceed the number of American soldiers killed in Iraq in 8 years.
Everything is done to the maximum to ensure that these people are not known. Military dog tags are not being issued, so that it is impossible to identify the servicemen in order to say that these people, they are some kind of mercenaries who went there at the call of the heart and so on, volunteers who agreed and so on. It's like they are not even regular units.
In Russia, a revolt of mothers is brewing due to the total concealment of information. More than 100 families have written a letter to President Putin demanding information from the Kremlin on the whereabouts of their loved ones.
Why such small numbers? Because there is a lot of intimidation going on. The military commissariat keeps all this information secret. Nobody knows who was killed and how. The family is approached individually. They are either paid money or explained that your son is missing. But at the same time, these people are being strictly handled. They just don't have the right to talk about it to anyone.
Among the relatives of killed, only a few independently try to find out the fate of their loved ones. One of them is Dmitry Shkrubets. He is the father of a sailor from the Russian cruiser Moskva. He received his 20-year-old son's death certificate only 110 days after the ship sank. All this time, Yegor was considered missing.
All Russian officials loudly declared in unison that Russian conscripts were not taking part in this so-called special military operation. Then it turned out that there were more than enough conscripts on the Russian cruiser Moskva, including this steward Yegor, who was killed as a result of an accurate missile attack by the Ukrainian Defense Forces.
The mother of 22-year-old intelligence officer Alexander Sokolov also managed to find out the truth about the death of her son. He was killed in Kharkiv on the 3rd day of the war, but he was buried only at the end of June. Alexander signed a 2-year contract with the Ministry of Defense but was not going to renew it. He had less than 6 months to serve. His body was only identified by a DNA test. I found out that they did not take military dog tags at all. I want to swear at all this. How was it possible to identify my Alexander? How? And how many more are missing? We could have waited 2 years for Alexander to be found. I can honestly say that we were saved by the fact that he served in the main directorate of the General Staff of the Armed Forces of the Russian Federation, and the fact that they promised to get all their guys out. Everyone who had access to the Federal Security Service asked about Sokolov. They were shaking from all sides. Natalia Sokolova, mother of a killed Russian soldier, in an interview with Severealii. And on August 5th, there will be a farewell to 12 Sakhalin Special Purpose Mobile Unit fighters who were also officially recognized as dead. They were killed during the shelling of the city of Stakhana of Luhansk region. Before going there, they were not even explained why the riot police were needed on the territory of the so-called Luhansk People's Republic. Relatives reported this to the journalists of the BBC Russian service.
A lot of riot police were killed at the beginning of the war. They went with the advanced units of the Russian forces. They thought that they would be able to carry out a large-scale offensive military campaign and seize the territory of Ukraine very quickly. And indeed, in order to establish, let's say, the occupation authorities there, to use these forces for repressions against Ukrainian politicians, activists and journalists.
When the death toll in the war in Ukraine approaches 100,000, their relatives will begin to raise a noticeable wave of protests, military experts say.
I think that such a situation may develop somewhere by autumn. That is, a significant part of Russian society will perceive the situation more objectively. The numbers are increasing, and this is beginning to affect the moral, psychological and social situation in the Russian Federation. By the summer, many contracts are ending. Every Russian citizen makes a conscious choice. The Ukrainian armed forces have no choice but to defend their land, their loved ones. The Russian occupiers always have a choice, either to be tempted by the offer to earn 200,000 rubles every month by killing civilians on the territory of Ukraine, or to abandon this mission.
Reported by Marina Stepanenko, Natalia Voloshina, UATV News.